Welcome to Super Rant Season 1 Doomsday Preppers. Here we rewatch superhero movies to explore how they build towards bigger stories, starting with Avengers Doomsday and the MCU.
Welcome to the Super Rant Podcast, Episode 3. Today we are going to be rewatching and looking at X-Men The Last Stand. My name's Kevin. I'm a lead writer for Screen Rant, covering all things superheroes and a lot more, but a lot of it superheroes.
And my name is Brian, and I am happy to be here today in this space.
Awesome. Last Stand. Not the best of the original X-Men trilogy.
Yeah, by no means.
I don't think people, it's often not most people's favorite.
Right. It's got a lot of things working against it, I think. But there is a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of cool things that I really like, and there's things that I don't like. And there's a number of reasons why that could be, but the first one being the director, right?
Yeah, it's a different director this time around. The first two were Bryan Singer. This one's Brett Ratner. And I feel like you can feel that. I feel like there's...
For sure, yeah.
The vision for the third one was probably a lot different from what we actually got. But that being said, you're absolutely right. There's positives. So maybe we'll start there. What are some positives that you like about Last Stand?
I mean, I think there's a lot of really cool individual scenes.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of cool characters. So right at the beginning of this movie, we have this cool scene with the Danger Room. So it's the first time we've seen the Danger Room in years.
Their training simulation room.
And we've got all of these younger students who are now old enough to be X-Men. And so we've got this new team that's formed. Because Cyclops, he's off doing his own thing.
Yeah.
And as always, reminder, please go watch the movie if you don't want spoilers. But it's been out since, what year?
2006.
2006.
Yeah.
So if you have a problem, go watch it. You can find it anywhere. But, we've got Cyclops is off in his own drama because of Jean in the last movie.
Yeah.
Which rightfully so, I guess. But we have this new team. We have Colossus, and we have Kitty, and we have Iceman, and Rogue, and they're all on the team for the first time, and there's a simulation that's very cool. And we see Sentinels in that for the first time.
Yeah, they kind of tease a Sentinel in there.
Yeah, and we see the fastball special for the first time.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. And, there are individual scenes like that are really cool.
Totally.
Like the scene with Jean and Professor X and Magneto in her childhood home. Mm-hmm. And they're approaching her as the Phoenix. And she basically disintegrates Professor X. That's a cool scene.
Yeah.
But that brings up its own set of issues, too.
It does. It does. I mean, it is a cool scene.
At the end of the movie, we have him just coming back in this brain dead person, which is problematic, and it's okay. Yeah.
But what else did you like about it?
I really liked Beast, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he was a great addition to the cast.
Yeah.
And the way that they went about including him and having him rejoin the team at the end of the movie with his old jacket, that was really cool. Mm-hmm. I'm excited to see him again in Doomsday.
Yeah, because they've already teased Kelsey Grammer's Beast post-credit scene for the Marvels.
Right, yeah.
They teased him. He's voicing it, but they're doing CGI. They did practical for Last Stand.
Right, yeah.
What do you think? Did you like the CGI look, or do you wish they would have kept going with practical?
Well, it's almost two different takes on the character. Mm-hmm. Because the one that they go with in the live-action movie... is in this movie, I guess, is a very realistic take on it.
Yeah, and he's working for the administration.
Right.
Yeah.
He's a beast, but he's also not so far removed from humanity. He doesn't have all of the beastly attributes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have the really pointy teeth, and he's not really that big. Whereas, the one that we see at the end of the Marvels, he does have the teeth that stick out past his lips.
He's bigger. Mm-hmm.
And he and his hair is a little bit more stylized.
Yeah, and more like the comics. Yeah.
That looks like the X-Men 97 Beast.
Yeah, or just the OG comics. I think the way that they've made Beast CGI for the Marvels, and that's probably how he's going to look in Doomsday.
Yeah, I would assume so.
I think that's our biggest sign. And like he's more like he's got the lab coat,
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
more classic like the comics. He's like kind of the scientist, the whole deal. I think it's very likely that the X-Men we're getting in Doomsday are going to be like, that's the biggest sign for me, that it's going to be from a different reality.
Yeah.
That's probably in line more with what we've seen in 97, the original cartoons, the original comics, but still using the same actors, which I think is really cool. It's for the nostalgia, and I think it's great.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's going to be a lot that's different while still
Yeah.
relying on some of that nostalgia.
That said, I will say that ties in nicely to what one of my favorite things is, that I think the movie does well, which is Beast is part of the administration. He's
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, he's with the president, and he's helping lead policy on mutant affairs. This is supposedly a president who is more, sympathetic to the mutant cause.
Sure,
They established that at the beginning of the movie. But then you also have Bolivar Trask, who's also part of that same administration.
And is very much on the other side of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you have the two of them trying to jockey for their different way, diplomacy versus, okay, do we just send in a squad and try and take out all the mutants?
Yeah.
Which is cool because, we get a very different Trask that's more like the comics and future movies, and, he's the creator of the Sentinel robots. But I thought it was a very cool way to establish the ongoing struggle of how do normal people, how does the government handle mutants. I thought that was actually pretty cool.
I think it's very cool. And then, at the end of the movie, we get Beast being the UN representative for America as a whole.
Yeah.
For mutants and humans alike.
I thought that would, yes.
And that's really cool, too, because I think that's just such a natural progression for his character. And I'd like to see kind of what role Beast falls into in the new universe, right? And, like, is he going to be more of just, like, the X-Men scientist, or is he going to be more of a political figure? And, the comics have gone all over the board with Beast.
Yeah.
Really, truly all over the board to the point where he's been a villain at points.
Yeah.
And so I'm just curious to see.
Yeah.
It'll be really
cool.
interesting.
How many times do you think you've watched Last Stand?
I would say maybe like 10 times.
I'd say it's around there. I don't know if it was when we did our rewatch ahead of Deadpool Wolverine in 2024. It might have been the rewatch before that, but that was one of the first times. I had seen it a few times, and I've only recently, within the last few years, realized that the kid in the movie who's like the source of the cure.
Yeah, it's Leech.
To get rid of mutants' powers. It's Leech, which is like, yes, obviously, the same powers. I mean, in the comics and the cartoon, he's got like green skin and yellow eyes.
Which is probably a good choice for him to not do that.
They don't ever say his name is Leech. It's just a code name in his file. Yeah. But I only picked up on that like within the last few years. Yeah. So I actually think that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's
cool
nod to the comics.
Yeah. Everybody like in the movie when they introduce a new character has like some form of establishment in the comics.
Yeah.
Which is neat.
Yeah.
Last thing that I'll say that I really liked about this movie is the bridge scene with Magneto.
Mm-hmm.
Like lifting up the bridge and just showing his raw power. That's really cool. And that really excites me for Doomsday because we've seen Ian McKellen revealing some stuff, probably unintentionally and then maybe intentionally, about Doomsday. And so I'm just excited to see the raw power that he brings to the table.
Imagine what that's going to look like this year.
Yeah.
20 years after that scene with the Golden Gate Bridge.
Which is
crazy. I feel like it's going to be nuts.
Yeah, and that scene is just so cool because, like, to me, the whole world is watching that moment.
Yeah.
And the whole world just goes quiet while that happens.
When you combine that scene with his monologue at the beginning of the movie, when the mutants are gathering in that church and they're concerned, and you've got the one guy on stage who's like, nobody's talking about extermination. And that's when Magneto does his whole, like, nobody ever talks about it. They just do it. And he talks about, he's speaking from his own experience.
Yeah, as a Holocaust
during the
survivor.
Holocaust. And it's just this amazing monologue from Ian McKellen. It's like...
Magneto is one of the most compelling characters ever written.
Yes. He's one of the best, the coolest Marvel villains. Just like Doctor Doom. So I'm super excited to see...
And we're going to get them in the same flippin' movie.
I have no... Like, if they interact, that's going to be wild.
It'd be
very cool. There's so many possibilities for Doomsday. It's just crazy. But Last Stand overall is not the strongest X-Men movie by any means.
And
what are the things that you have like a biggest problem with?
we don't spend enough time with any characters.
Yeah.
Like, we don't spend enough time to really care about what they're going through. And the characters that we do, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. Like, okay, Colossus, such a cool character. Such a cool background. And he has, like, what, 3 speaking lines in the movie?
I mean, take away the 2 times he does a fastball special with Wolverine, what else is he doing in the movie?
And then, like, with Angel, who's super cool...
Mm-hmm.
Highly underutilized. He has that like intensely visceral scene near the beginning of the movie where as a kid he's cutting off his own wings.
Yeah.
And that is like, this is such a raw, crazy moment. And then like that payoff I just think is not big enough.
No, yeah.
We never see him like really truly like struggle with his dad. Other than like jumping out the building, you know, and then saving him at the end.
The cure, yeah.
Like it's all just like action based, and the only 3 beats we get of him is cutting off his wings, jumping out the building, and saving his dad. Mm-hmm. And it's like that's so lame. Like let's spend more time with that because that's what's interesting about this movie.
You either need to make the movie longer, or you need to give it more depth,
right?
Because a lot of it is action based,
right?
You know.
And then last thing I'll say on Cyclops, super disappointing in this movie. I get that he's like grieving the death of his girlfriend, but like he did nothing in this movie except die in the wimpiest way possible.
Yeah, and then, you know, it's all in the service of like Wolverine having to grapple with Jean and whether or not he should kill her because she's the Phoenix and everything.
Right.
But can you imagine a scenario where Cyclops lives and the 2 of them, because they love Jean, have to work together
so cool.
to, if they have no other choice to destroy her, but to work together to destroy her.
Yes,
like that.
So cool.
That sounds infinitely more compelling in my mind.
You said something just now, which is actually another point that I have, is they killed Cyclops to progress Wolverine's whole thing.
Yeah.
And they do that throughout the movie.
Yes.
They use other characters to progress the storyline of other characters. Mm-hmm. And so certain characters in this movie don't really have their own development. It's how they are reacting to what other people are doing. Like, for instance, the whole Rogue and Kitty and Iceman thing is so dumb. It's so stupid. Because Kitty and Iceman, the only reason that they're having anything romantic going on at all is to further Rogue's story and to force her to go take the mutant cure.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's a situation where the writing is not developed enough to a point to give the characters their own story moments. Their story moments are based off of what other characters' story moments
I feel like
are.
the biggest problem people have is that there are so many beloved X-Men characters who very much get sidelined and basically used for someone else.
Right, yeah.
It's yes, I would agree.
And there are characters that, well, like the whole Mystique thing.
Yeah.
Her biggest moment in the movie was getting hit with the cure and becoming human, and that furthers the plot along for Magneto to show who he is as a mutant. That if you get the cure, you're dead to him. Mm-hmm. Her whole thing, her whole plot line revolved around what she could do to further Magneto's plot line.
I mean, I guess you can make the argument that like that's the best you can do when your cast is so big. But we have proof now.
We have proof now that you don't have to do that. You can have an Infinity War where all the characters get their moment. You can have a Guardians of the Galaxy where each and every character is fleshed out and you feel connected to each and every character. Yeah. And it's just so like, it's so frustrating because I want to spend more time with these beloved characters, yet we're doing this stupid love triangle thing that doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah.
And there are other characters that aren't even in the movie. Nightcrawler isn't even in the movie.
No.
And he was the greatest addition from X2.
Yeah, and again, I think that ties back to apparently Alan Cumming had a really hard time filming X2.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
But he was my favorite character from X2.
I'm very excited to see him back in Doomsday.
To not see him in Last Stand is a huge bummer.
Yeah.
Which I guess there's kind of like some precedents for that in the comics and in the show. Because when I think of X-Men, I really think of like the '90s show and the '97 follow-up. And Nightcrawler was never like really a part of the team until '97.
Yeah,
he was always kind of just like pop up from an episode here and there.
Definitely.
Which I guess makes sense. But Nightcrawler, for a lot of people, is one of the greatest X-Men characters.
Yeah.
And so to underutilize him, I think, is criminal.
Yeah.
And so he needs to be utilized in such a great way in Doomsday.
Yeah. But as far as, and I think we've touched on it, as far as how this movie has any sort of significance to Doomsday, I think it's really, imagine what Magneto is going to be capable of in Doomsday, setting up more, you know, what the cast is going to look like and some of their interactions. Will they be similar to Last Stand? Will, like, kind of with Beast and how they've already teased Beast, it might be a different version of the X-Men, just the same actors.
Yeah, which I think would be okay, especially if they're going to try to reboot the X-Men after Secret Wars.
Yeah, and like when they do that reboot, like I would love to see some of these themes in, like, they're very classic themes from the comics. I'd like to see those themes replicated in the future.
Definitely, 100%. I would really like, and we've talked about this in previous episodes too, that to really hit the superhuman bias and the superhuman persecution and all that.
Yeah.
I think that would be a really interesting way to take the MCU, because from Iron Man to like Avengers 2, it's mostly just like, yeah, superheroes are great, superheroes are awesome. And then we get Avengers 2 with the whole Sokovia thing goes down. And then we get Civil War where it's a reaction to that. And then we have things like Infinity War where the Avengers lose. We have things like Endgame where all these people are brought back and the superheroes are deciding this unilaterally. It's like, okay, the public of the in-universe MCU is just so, I think, ready.
We've been seeing this gradual build that is going to be primed.
And in no way
for the mutants.
In no way is it intentional. Because there's no way Marvel could have predicted, 10 years ago that they would be getting the rights to Fox and being able to do all this. But I think it's just really fun to see that there's opportunity.
Totally.
And instead of going ahead and just
they can
rebooting...
take advantage.
Right. Instead of just going ahead and rebooting the Avengers and doing, a new Iron Man, new Captain America, let's continue the universe, but let's shift the focus to be mutants.
I am fully expecting them to really lean in hard on the mutants and X-Men post Secret Wars. I think it's going to be really cool. Beyond that, the last thing that I just can't stand is that none of the endings in Last Stand
They don't matter. They don't matter. They don't do anything.
Magneto loses his powers. Rogue loses her powers. Xavier gets disintegrated by Jean. And okay, so Days of Future Past, like, everything gets, by the end of Days of Future Past, thanks to Wolverine going back in time, it's a whole new timeline and everything's happy. Jean and Scott are alive and it's fine. It's great. But even before that,
even by the end of this movie,
Xavier,
he's back.
He transfers his consciousness into a patient who was in a coma and was brain dead. And they don't really explain how he looks exactly like Xavier for Days of Future Past. And then they kind of tease at the end that Magneto the powers cure is temporary, right? So he gets his powers back. We know that Rogue gets her powers back because they did the whole, they did the special cut with Rogue and she's in Days of Future Past. So it's like by the end of it, it's just so much of the resolution does not matter. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's tough to see anytime when they like walk back any sort of like big moment.
But man, did they walk back?
Which, like,
so it happens, but they walk back so hard in so many ways.
And that's such like a comic book thing too, because
you're
not gonna take away Magneto's powers forever because he's Magneto.
Yes.
You're not gonna, rip Wolverine's adamantium skeleton out for too long and then you'll give it back, because those are fundamental parts of those characters that you can't just get rid of. And so I get it. it's doable and workable.
Yeah.
But from a storytelling narrative in a movie like this, it's tough to see because the stakes just like don't matter.
You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Last Stand.
That's Last Stand. It is a movie of all time.
A movie.
It is a movie. And it's a fun movie. There's lots of parts in it that are really enjoyable, and I really do like a lot of the Storm and Wolverine interactions. I think those are great. I think the way that they set the world up in that movie is really great. I just think some of the writing and some of the character moments are pretty poor.
It was not very strong.
We didn't even talk about Jean and all her stuff.
Well, yeah, they didn't really trust the comics, and they went with the dual personality as opposed to
strange.
The alien Phoenix, which is way cooler.
I suppose that universe wasn't ready for like the M-Cron crystal and
no, all the stuff from the comics and
the what is it, the White Hot Room?
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
just like, that's a whole nother level.
Well, neither was the Dark Phoenix movie technically, but they did go Alien, which to that movie's credit, but that's even worse in my opinion.
Yeah, that's another movie.
Anyways, news.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a little bit of news real quick because there's some cool stuff. At the time of filming, we're about to get to the Super Bowl.
Yep, Super Bowl's coming.
And as far as reports go, there aren't going to be many superhero trailers.
Nope.
I was expecting maybe like a Doctor Doom focused, Doomsday trailer or Spider-Man, but Sony hasn't really done big game trailers. If you look back.
I guess that's true.
But like not even Supergirl, although I think Supergirl's doing a little something for the Puppy Bowl because crypto.
But we need to be getting this Spider-Man trailer here pretty soon.
Yeah.
Because it comes out, at the end of July.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say late March at the latest.
Yeah.
We could expect one.
Yeah.
But who knows? Sony's always, they're trash with the way that they do trailers anyways. They'll probably spoil something huge from the ending and act like it's not. But
I hope
whatever.
not.
Oh, they will. They're just terrible at it. Sorry, Sony. It's just the way it is. You need to get better.
Tying back to Magneto and the Golden Gate Bridge, Ian McKellen recently let slip.
This is a spoiler potentially for the new movie.
Yes.
So if you don't want to hear this, go ahead and
I have a feeling he talked about it first time and it was definitely an accident. And then he talked about it a second time. And I think he got the go-ahead from Marvel. It's like, well, cat's out of the bag now.
Yeah.
But it looks like he'll be doing some crazy Magneto destruction in Doomsday. Something to do with New Jersey, which could be crazy.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of is that, like, Miss Marvel lives in New Jersey. And they tease it in the MCU. She has an X gene, so that's kind of potentially cool. She's not.
That's interesting.
Iman Vellani is not confirmed for Doomsday, but I would be very surprised if she wasn't in it.
I haven't thought about what kind of interactions she'll have with some established mutants, because I don't know if she will be in Doomsday or Secret Wars.
Yeah,
but I'd be surprised if she wasn't in Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Maybe not Doomsday, because if we follow the Endgame Infinity War kind of formula, not all the characters showed up in Infinity War.
Yeah.
But then they were all in Endgame.
It's true. Yeah.
And so
I could see something very similar happening.
I've thought about like how she would interact with the mutant community going forward, but not necessarily in an Avengers movie.
Yeah. I do have a little bit of DC stuff.
Yeah. I love it.
Hawkgirl is confirmed for Man of Tomorrow. James Gunn confirmed that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
We will most likely be seeing more of the Justice Gang, if they're still called the Justice Gang.
I would hope so. I mean, they need to continue developing that to the point where they become the Justice League. Because you know Warner Brothers, and I guess now to an extent Netflix, is going to be pressuring James Gunn to get to a Justice League movie.
Oh, most probably,
because they want to stay competitive with Avengers. So he needs to keep developing that narrative of the Justice Gang, Justice League in the background of certain stories. Yeah. So that they can get to the point of a Justice League movie. Yeah. With, like, I would be surprised if it was Darkseid. But...
Yeah, I think James Gunn said recently that Darkseid would probably be not what they're building towards, at least initially.
Vandal Savage would be pretty cool.
Oh my gosh, he's a cool character. Awesome. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I mentioned it earlier, but I think just like last year with the Puppy Bowl, where they promoted with Crypto and Superman.
Makes sense.
They've already teased we might even get maybe a little bit of new footage for Supergirl.
I mean, that'd be
pretty cool.
That's an easy way to promote your movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
A little bit of comics news. they released the logo for the upcoming Spider-Man, Superman crossover
I saw
comics,
that, yeah.
which is very exciting. Last year they did Deadpool, Batman crossover comics, and they were really fun to read. I'm pretty excited for Spider-Man, Superman.
Yeah.
That'll be.
Well, did you see the back of the logo?
I just saw the front of it where they were like they split the Superman logo in half.
So on the front of the comic, it's the Superman Spider-Man split logo.
Mm-hmm.
On the back of the comic, it's Bizarro Venom.
Oh, see, I didn't see that at all.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's gonna be that's really exciting. That's gonna be really cool. Other than that, there's kind of just a lot of like rumors and stuff. Mark Ruffalo, Chris Hemsworth, and Halle Berry are all
they're doing
a movie
their
together.
Crime 101 junket.
They've been getting a lot of questions, like they're being very cagey about whether Storm is in the movie or not. Chris Hemsworth made a funny comment that like he's gonna get Storm in Secret Wars. Who knows if that's actually real or not. Ruffalo talked a little bit about Spider-Man, but he didn't say much about whether he'd be in Doomsday. I'd expect him to do like Spider-Man skipping Doomsday, being Secret Wars, but
yeah, I think that makes sense because I mean, Doomsday and Spider-Man were filming at the same time, and they're filming Secret Wars now.
They're just about to.
Okay, yeah.
There's even some rumors that I saw some rumors today that there's maybe conversations happening about splitting Secret Wars into 2 movies.
That'd be interesting.
Which would then make like Doomsday the start of a full like Avengers trilogy to end. And cool. I mean.
Pretty cool.
If they've got enough stuff that they want to fit in, maybe that's a good call. Maybe it's not. I'm sure we'll talk about that as we get closer and more things get confirmed. But that's kind of all the news I've got at the moment.
Okay.
Sweet.
Well, next week we are watching Iron Man. We are kicking off the MCU proper. We're doing
the
them...
sacred timeline.
Yeah, the sacred timeline.
Yeah.
As a reminder, we are doing them in release order. So be watching out for that. You can find the link on both our Spotify and YouTube pages.
Yep.
And then Kevin's articles are up there as well. There's a link to the conjoined Super Rant articles.
Yeah, we've got some Super Rant articles on Screen Rant that you can find. Those have been fun to write.
All right, we'll watch Iron Man for next week. That's your homework, and we'll see you then.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to Super Rant Season 1 Doomsday Preppers. Look out for our following episode next Friday. And remember to watch the upcoming movie before listening. You can find a link to our watch schedule on our YouTube page.